Hey, everybody, welcome to Meet the Voter. It's Sunday morning, May 1st. We're going to try something a little different, little snippets today. We got Bob Phelan, our consultant from Central Valley, pretty sharp guy when it comes to talking points. We got Heather Havenwood back from Texas. I guess she got out of the boat, the rowboat down there, and found some dry land.
We did.
We got Roxanne Davenport, who is our stay-at-home mom who works in the nonprofit side of the house, helping folks and causes. So Roxanne, give us your impressions. We're going to cycle through some folks, but give us your impressions of what you thought happened in the last couple of weeks or this week with the New York win, all the different things that happened before you leave.
Oh my! Well, of course, Trump would take New York, and California. Did not expect anything like that, and all the riot. And I just get so mad at people that burn flags. They don't deserve to be here. I think it's just ridiculous. But oh man, unfortunately, Trump will probably get his number because it was funny who Cruz chose to be his vice president candidate. And I mean, it was just,
I don't think there's anything wrong with Carly, but that's interesting. It was probably too late. And Meet the Press really did have Cruz on today and talk about all the issues, and he wouldn't answer if he's going to support Trump. But Cruz is Cruz.
Yeah. I did see that, and how he went around in circles about if he would vote for Trump.
No, he did. I understand it politically, and Bob understands that. He did not want to say overtly that he would vote for Trump. I think he said that in the past, though. So what do you think, Bob?
What do I think? I think he'll support him when it happens. But I mean, he's going out. He says, "Listen, that Donald Trump, Mike Tyson, the rapist, he endorsed him. When you're endorsed by a racist or a rapist, how can you do that? He's desperate. I mean, as we talked about yesterday, this is like the captain of the Titanic as they're going down, saying, "Who wants to be co-captain?" Okay, so Carly's co-captain. Have a nice ride.
So Roxanne, what is your forecast for next week? You got Indiana coming up, and I'll let you go.
Indiana, probably be Trump.
How about on the Democrat side?
Oh, Hillary.
I don't know. It's close. The polls are close, so we'll find out. Hey, thanks, Roxanne. Hang in there. Come on back later, and we're going to pause right now.
Bye.
Lines and
Hey, Roxanne, Heather, we were recording now. I want to definitely catch your feelings about Trump. Why don't you just give it this? Make sure we have this.
I'm sorry, guys. Y'all just listen to this again.
Just tell us real fast why you're a Trump supporter and how you think the election is going. I think it's going. I supported 3 different people, and I've evolved to Trump now because I think he is the best choice when I see what's out there. And I've always been coming from the builder in the private sector. I know you're talking about some of those points.
Yeah.
He's a businessman. And I think that's the first time we've had a businessman running for office at this level in a long time.
Yeah, I agree. And so I think what's happening is that people over time, over these last 9 months of the election, they're starting to see his view. Is that Ted Cruz has never run a business, and Kasich hasn't really run a business, and Bernie's never even had a job before. And Hillary hasn't even driven a car in 21 years or 22 years. So that's hard to even conception. And someone who's run really real estate in New York and all over the world, really, Sweden, other places he's had real estate, it takes a kind of courage to be able to fight through that process, because there's a lot of things that happen in real estate. As you know, you're dealing with land, you're dealing with policy, you're dealing with political, you're dealing with so many different pieces. And that's the same thing of running a business. And so what happens today is the people who actually write the check of employee tax, the ones that are actually writing the W-2, the ones that are writing all those taxes to the government, and they see it in the checkbook, the sales tax, all the county tax, all these different taxes, believe it or not, they're the ones saying, I vote for Trump. It doesn't matter about race. It doesn't matter if I'm Latino. There's a ton of Latino business owners in Texas that are pro-Trump because they feel the pocketbook. They feel it, right? So they know that if they vote for somebody who's a business person, their businesses will prosper. And then they have the opportunity to give more money to more people, more workers. When they can't grow their business, they can't add to the bottom line. So for me, I think that's what's happening with Trump. And I love the fact that there's so many what I call anti-Trump. I love that, because the more anti-Trump people get, the more pro I get. And I think that's happening with a lot of people. I'm not alone in that. And so even I'm a Texan. I wish they were talking more about oil. He actually does talk a little bit about it, that he feels we should bring the oil back here and rise up oil prices a little bit. from 30 to at least 40 or 50, something good, then the challenge, what I think also with that is that, yes, the oil prices have dropped, but has it really changed at the gas tank? I think yesterday it was 280 here. I don't know about you guys, but that's really high.
Why is it so high?
I don't know.
There.
You know, and I'm
It should
like,
be
we're
cheap
$30 a barrel. We should be at 150.
You're right. That's because of the taxes have come on over the last 10 years that they've snuck in there.
They do it because they can. And, I understand how you're talking about Texas and the issues affecting Texas, but right now that horse has left the barn. It's no longer about Texas. It's about primary elections. And you have to look at what's coming up with Nebraska, West Virginia, Kentucky, Oregon, California, New Jersey.
Yeah, but oil prices just affect everything. It's not
something.
about Texas. It's about oil prices affect everyone, right? The country. I'm not worried about Texas particularly.
No, but what I'm saying is
oil business in general.
There's no answer for oil as far as for a presidential candidate because it's fracking. Fracking is an expensive process, and you can't do that at $30 a barrel.
We also have to
shut
build
down.
it other ways. I'm pro obviously bringing the domestic oil here, but the point is on the other things that Trump is bringing up, like the anti-immigration. He says it. I'm not anti-immigrant. I'm just here saying they should come through the legal process, not be illegal. And I agree with that.
And criminals shouldn't be on our streets. You shouldn't have sanctuary cities. You shouldn't have. You shouldn't have
and the sanctuary cities are in California.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I said California is different than.
They're not in the South. They are.
California is different than Texas. California is very, very liberal. Very liberal.
What did Trump's last rally he had down Southern California? He had people on the stage who had family members killed by illegals.
That was very powerful. That was a smart move for him, and it was very powerful because it was about the fact that, and every single one was. They told the story that every single one who they'd already been through the system once or twice, right? The what do you call it? The judicial system. They'd already been convicted of something, and they were out.
Yeah,
and they should have been deported. Yeah, but they weren't.
And they should never. And then coming back in
why? Because those are potential Democrat voters.
And House will not pass the will not bring the legislation in that says if you're a criminal and you come back, if you're prosecuted, and you come back into the United States, it's a 5-year prison sentence automatically. Well, you've been deported.
The other thing about the criminals, what was the deal that happened this week? That I think it's Virginia's governor passed that anyone that's out that has been released from prison, they now have a vote.
No, that doesn't make any sense. That can only be state. It can't be federal, can it? You can't.
206,000 felons were granted the right to vote again in Virginia.
Yeah, it should be a federal law. I don't think that should be state either. But
unless I guess he must have removed the. To do that, you'd have to remove the felony charges. I would.
How do you? No, they could vote, Bill. They could vote.
He blanket signed it. It didn't matter what it was rapist or if it was drug dealer or for whatever it was.
I should know this, but doesn't the Constitution lay out some of the
McAuliffe restores right here, Bill, voting rights for 206,000 ex-felons. And the bottom line is they're not going to separate your state votes, local voting rolls, your federal voting rolls, your city voting rolls. These guys will be voting in the next presidential election.
That makes you sick.
And Virginia's a swing state, and they said majority, I don't know the percentage, majority of the prisoners have gotten out are African American. It's a swing state, and they're trying to do it from a Democratic perspective. So it's like they assume that all African Americans are going to vote Hillary. Not to say that's true, but they assume that. So that's what they're going to do, which I find fascinating. I personally am in the view that depending on their case, they should or should not get a particular vote. But I don't think it should be state. Here's why. Because if they do a crime in Texas and then they do a crime in North Carolina, and North Carolina does give them a vote and Texas doesn't, I just think that's weird. It should be a federal thing. If you do a federal crime, you do or do not get a vote when you get out.
Governor that does that will not get my vote.
Yeah, and he's also in an election year, I believe. He's in election.
He is.
I don't think McAuliffe is. I think he's said on that, but this is just to build up the Democrat Party, and that's why it did mention in the article that when he made the statement about giving these people the right to vote, that all of a sudden they had people from the Democrat Party there registering them at that point. Obviously, you have to register in California. Illegals get driver's license, and how are you going to separate that? I mean, in some areas, we lost a very close race where they had 110% turnout.
Like, how do you have 100%?
Another thing, why they need to learn English before they do that?
But it's May Day. It's Workers' Day. It's Celebrate Comrade Day. Where are our communists here, Bill?
Hey, I'm going to pause on that one for a second.
Vote for Hillary?
Okay, we're talking about Hillary now. We're going to talk a little bit about the Democrats and Hillary and Bernie. We're recording this. So around the table, Bob, we'll go to Heather, then we'll go to Roxanne. Bob, what do you think about the Democrats this week?
Well, it's over for everybody except for Hillary. I mean, the bottom line is it is weekend.
Well, Hillary could be over for her if the FBI would ever get their investigation completed.
He's dead.
Yeah, who is she paying off to put that down?
Remember when they got hold of all the FBI files when Clinton was in power and president? That was a scandal too. So
well, there were, and this we talked about too, Bill. There are so many scandals out there. People are not that smart. You know, my biggest problem is I talk fast. You need to talk slow, and you need to focus on 3 of the crimes that she's committed, and just 3. Not say, well, gee, she did this. With Clinton, there were 1,000 points of scandal. You couldn't focus on anything.
So what would you maybe you'd focus on 1,000 points of scandal.
But that takes discipline to focus on 3. And if you look at one thing with Trump,
okay,
he already has a name for old Hillary. She's Crooked Hillary.
Yeah. So what would you focus on? What 3 things?
Tag her with that low energy jab. Boy,
one thing is he is good.
Lion Ted.
We're going back to Trump, but one thing about Trump is I love how he negotiates. He puts out big demands and then negotiates, which is good.
But that was his whole thing, Bill.
So Heather, what do you think about the Democrats this week? Then we'll come back to Bob with his 3 talking points because I'm curious what they are. What they should be used. What do you think Trump should use?
I find it interesting that Hillary's asking for Bernie to get out of the race. Number 2, I think it's interesting that Hillary's playing the woman card this hard at this point. And number 3, she needs someone to figure out her fashion design because she's got these cankles.
She definitely is.
I do not care. She is not a pretty person.
I don't know what she wears. It's like
she wears these big pantsuits that make her look like she's walking around like a Santa Claus suit. And she does like neck here, and you can't see her cankles, and it's fascinating, really. And I mean, there's a perception there. She's like, she doesn't know. I don't like what she wears.
So what are your 3 points that Trump should use against Hillary? Oh, everyone.
Crooked Hillary.
Yep.
The emails are just ridiculous. That whole thing with the emails scandal, the fact that it's so silent now, all of a sudden there's just like 0 conversation about it from the State Department. I find really that's fascinating. Why is that all of a sudden?
There's an investigation going on right now.
There's an investigation going on, but there's 0 information from the FBI on that too. It's not being.
Oh, she froze. Too bad.
She froze it. Well, Bill, I'll throw the other part in there.
You do the other 3. What are your 3, Bob?
Well, number 1, it is about the Crooked Hillary. Number 2, it's about Syria and about her lack of judgment. Number 3, it's about how she left our ambassador and those other 3 to just die.
Well, that's Syria. I would say that fits. Well, that's not Syria. It's Benghazi, of course. It's same element.
It's when the time for the 3 o'clock phone call came in, she did not answer the phone.
Oh, and they lied to the American public.
Right. Exactly.
So your 3. What are your 3 again?
Well, number 1, it has to be about she's crooked. She's lied about that, about the fact her judgment is terrible. Look what happened with Syria and with Libya, with Gaddafi, how she was wrong. Basically, they helped create the Arab Spring, her and Obama, with their policies. And I really think, since I happened to be lucky enough last week to meet Chris Pintaro, who wrote 13 Hours and was in Benghazi, I really think that is a very strong issue about leaving. As a soldier, Bill, you never leave your other soldiers behind. We left them there on their own, just walked away. And we allowed them to be killed. And then we lied to the American people about it. So a lot of it's just associated around the crookedness. And I think that's really, in fact, if you want to get into the fact of women, how she's defended her husband, and not sexual dalliances.
The third thing is
but how she protected him versus these women. If she really cares about women's issues, I don't know how she could go with the 2. I just don't know. I'd ask more on Roxanne on this. What do you feel about what she did to the bimbo eruptions? How she
so summarize the 3 issues again. You've got Crooked Hillary, and then you've got judgment and foreign policy.
I really think Benghazi
and actually the turning her back on the women's issues, living with a predator.
Those
are the 3 you'd focus on.
It's tough. It's tough, but this, I think a lot of times it's like the issue of abortion. You and I talked about it. That's a women's issue. Women should discuss it. Men, we need to shut up and just take 14 steps back. women have to decide this issue, not men, especially white men over the age of 60.
Okay, he's going to probably stay out of the argument. So what do you think Hillary's going to use? We're going to, first of all, Roxanne, I want to talk to you. Then we're going to ask reverse. What will Hillary use against Trump? Do that, and then we'll finish up for today. Roxanne, what do you think are the three?
Me against or for?
No, I'd say that Trump is going to be the Republican rep now. So if he's going to go up against Hillary, what are the three things you would recommend to Trump to bring out against Hillary?
Oh, well, he could bring out her
Three
husband.
things.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the first. So that's the first one that hits with you is the allowing her husband to be a predator.
If you're impeached, why did he stay in office?
Because he was impeached, but he wasn't thrown out of office.
Well, see, that's ridiculous. That would have been good. And
because he didn't have enough votes.
Him, and that's stupid too. And it's funny how when they said Obama was leaving, would he know how to use a phone and know the dial tone? Would he remember now to dial the area code? We have to dial area code in North Carolina now. Would he know how to do that? And a cell phone. But then that's funny about Hillary, how she says, not her cell phone, not knowing how to use both the cell phone different at a time. That's funny too. So, not using cell phones, that means would she be able to run the country? Let's see, what else?
That's maybe fits in with the internet and not understanding the seriousness about the internet and what she's done with security. And that fits into judgment.
Also about not with again, like Bob said, not back in the soldiers, when all that bombing happened.
Yeah, basically there's three things that Bob was pointing. Now, Heather, I don't know how much you heard about it. We're going to ask you. We're assuming that Trump and Hillary are going to probably run off against each other, though I think Hillary has less of a chance of making it than Trump because Hillary can still get in trouble with this email situation because she's under investigation. So what are the three things that you would tell Trump to use against Hillary? Bob says stick on three things, don't go too broad. So what are the three things?
One, stick with the rhetoric of crooked Hillary. Really stick with that rhetoric and use it as a campaign. Number two, okay, what are you doing, Robert? Number two is the email scandal.
I think a lot of people on the email scandal don't get it. I mean, I'm in that business. I work between the State Department and the military and in the classified arena. I know what she did, how bad it is. Yep. But I think the average person doesn't get it.
I agree with that. I think you have to dummy it down a little bit. You have to take one talking point from it and kind of basically it's if I was saying one talking point around that, it would be about national security. She put things on a private server that anyone can hack into. It's hackable. I mean, people understand that concept of hackable. Just a second. And then the third thing is, in a weird way, her relationship with
I think that's Bob. Those are the three things that I think we narrowed it down to because.
Yeah, I mean, people, and someone here, Laura, talks about we way over the woman's dress. I get that, but I also look at how Ted Cruz dressed, and for a long time, cases would come to things wearing a sweater. Like, what a grandpa! Like, come on, he looks like he's a grandpa. Like, when you wear something presidential, if you're going to be a president, wear presidential. And this is a point where they're campaigning, and they have to look like they can own the job. Look at how Carla Fiorina dresses. She dresses impeccable because she's taking ownership of the position. You don't show up in sweatsuits. Okay, so I believe that. I believe in how you dress, how you present yourself is 80% of the message.
I don't think you have to use that though, because
I
don't think you have to use that because the people will just see that. You don't have to. Bob's good about this. You don't have to talk about how you look.
One thing Trump did do was he had people that were in any kind of force that came up and they wanted him. Because. How one of them he lost a leg, came out with a prosthetic, said, vote for Trump. And then another one was one who won a Medal of Honor, came out and said, vote for Trump. Did anybody see that? It was a long time ago.
Yeah, no, I saw. The other thing did you see the clip that Hillary was in New York and she went on an all African American radio show and the guy said, "Are you really mean that? Or are you pandering to blacks?" And her response is, "I'm pandering." And at least she was truthful. Like, it was obvious. She said something about, what did she say? About Tabasco. And I found it funny because it was the first time I actually liked Hillary because at least she was like, "No, I'm just pandering."
I thought that was unique. Whatever. Let's go around the other side now. If you're Hillary, how do you defeat Trump?
He's racist. He's homophobic. And
No, one at a time. Heather, you go first. What are 3 things
right
you
now?
tell Hillary to pound Trump on?
Robert, you might as well just. If I happened to be on the Democratic side, which I find that would be interesting, and if I was pro Hillary, I would probably focus on the women's issues, like she is, and really hammer on that. I would spin the Planned Parenthood thing because people don't really understand.
So
what's happening
talk about that again. What are the points
So
again? One was what?
Women's issues and
those all
spin
fit
the
together.
Planned
So your
Parenthood.
bundle is into each other. And Bob agreed with you there.
Yeah, 2. Okay, and 2. Let's see. I would focus on bad deals that Trump did. Find them. Find people that don't like Trump, like in a business deal, if you could find it.
This is interesting.
Oh, geez. And then
Racist is homophobic.
third, I would focus on he's had 3 marriages. I focus on the fact that he's got 3 marriages. He's failed.
Yeah,
he's failed.
That
3
can
marriages.
backfire on her,
really
though. I
hammered.
think.
I agree.
I mean, she should have had a couple
But
marriages.
at least she's got 1 bad marriage, and he's had 3 failed. I'm telling you,
I have
you
more
asked me what
respect
I would say
for
to
Trump with the
Hillary.
bad marriages than I do with Hillary with hanging in with Bill.
I agree. But that's a talking point she could bring up. You
And-
know what I mean?
And
And
I think a
he's
lot
never
of
been
people
elected
like
for anything he's ever-
Hillary's like Trump's wife, Ivana.
Yeah, what happened with that this week? There's some news reporter was saying negative stuff about her. I think it was accurate information, but it's like, what's the point? Okay, so she has a dad that had
Before,
sex with
yeah,
another
that came
woman
out
and
early.
had
That
babies.
went over. That was nothing. That was before they even got married. Let her family. Was it? Was it Spain?
And then what was the scandal?
I mean, there's
it's
no
another
connectivity.
country.
It's not what she's done. She's pulled herself up from the roots and come through. And
I mean, actually, what it showed it more to me was, wow,
So,
she came from that. And
I'm going to
just
eliminate your
that.
third point. I
That's-
don't think she can do that. Third point doesn't work for Hillary against Clinton. See, I'm going to let Bob. Let's go to Bob now. If you were Hillary, what are the 3 points that you would attack Trump with?
He's racist. He's racist. He's racist.
That's the first one, racist. I'm not going to let you off
You
that.
say that 3 times. That's all you need on that. And he's racist. He's anti-woman. He's against anti-minorities. He hates blacks. Black.
I'm going to bundle it all together. It's like that.
That's all. It's all racist.
They've been doing that for 20 years.
And he's against the minimum wage. He doesn't
I
care
think
about working
that will actually help Trump, that approach, because people are seeing through that.
It'll help
The average,
Thinking people will see through that, Bill. How did Democrats get elected? How did Obama get elected twice? Because people are hope and change you could believe in. People are stupid. Never
I'm not sure they were using.
Bill, I'm sorry. You don't need to be specific.
Okay, you gave 3. You got to have 2 more.
He's racist, Bill.
Okay.
He's for the 1%, and he's anti-woman. I mean, he's against the minimum wage. He doesn't want these guys who say, "Would you like fries with that?" Making the same thing that an EMT
So
makes.
is he going to hit Trump with 3 things? You're going to hit him with minimum wage. You're going to hit him with being racist, and
The
you're going to hit him
1%, the racist,
anti-woman.
yes. He's racist.
I mean, for me as a Trump supporter, that makes me go towards Trump even more. However, that is some talking points that the average American would go for.
Joe Scarborough says
on the
there are not
millennials.
enough, and don't take this personal, there are not enough white voters to put him
Joe
into
Scarborough.
power. So we need to talk to people who are other than white voters. And I want to tell you that flag that I was put up there, that KIA flag, it's a killed in action flag. That was given to me yesterday by a Gold Star mother whose son was killed in Iraq, Operation Iraqi Freedom, on April 28, 2007. So I issues like that about national defense, about country, duty, honor, country, I think are the issues we really need to put the focus on. And Trump needs to say what he's going to do for the African-American community. They need to talk about the fact that when Obama came in, there were 80 million people out of work. Now there's 93 million. And during that time, 6.5 million more women were out of work. And 1.2 million blacks and minorities lost their jobs under Obama.
So
we need to put those people back to work.
I think you do that. You do that in a certain way, though. You have to develop a system where the Clintons have not been good for the
gals that
Obamas.
you have those 2 gals that Trump has get out there, and those 2 are absolutely kick butt. The ones who get out there and they take on everybody. Those 2 African American women, they're Trump supporters. That's what you need in the community out there.
People don't get it, though. Like in Costa Mesa, he had a lot of Latino supporters in that rally. Huge number.
Well,
Hey,
those are anarchists
Roxanne.
out there, Bill.
Roxanne, here's your chance to shine.
The other thing,
You're the advisor to Hillary Clinton. What are your top three issues you should tell her to attack Trump with? And then we'll finish it.
Well, nobody's mentioned disability. I said somebody should. Do
you think disability is one of the things you can as a main one of the three?
Okay, there are 3.
I know that's your personal. You got to think bigger. You got to think you're advising Trump.
There's 3 million people in America with epilepsy. That does not include Parkinson's. It does not include multiple sclerosis. We can get out and vote.
1%.
1% what?
If all 3 million
That's
are
not even
legal
1%.
voting age, 1%.
Okay, that's 1%. But did you include Parkinson's? Did you include multiple sclerosis?
But in the big that's in the platform down below. I don't think that's one of the main 3 because
that's one of the 3. That's one of the 3.
Okay, we'll let you have that. One of the 3 is okay.
Now,
well, the other 2
women, because she needs to talk about the women voters. Okay, but I don't want to say what I hated what Madeline whatever said about
the women.
All women.
You're telling Hillary to use the women card against Trump.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And
that hooks in with her husband. I think that's a tough. See, it's a lot tougher than you think for Hillary. I think.
Yeah, it is.
Bob, what are you doing?
I don't think it's that tough for her because she already has like 240 electoral college votes already sewed in that they're going to go.
but you're so narcissistic. So am I going to start doing stuff?
So you got Roxanne. You got one more point. What's your third point? You got 3. You got I would say.
Right?
Well, the millennials. No one's talking about the millennials.
How about the moms? You're a mom,
The
right?
mom vote.
Roxanne, right?
Mom for
Moms.
Hillary.
She's not a mom now. She's a grandma.
Grandma's for Hillary. She's got that vote.
Grandma's for
Yeah,
Hillary.
she's a
Word.
grandma.
So we'll continue. You guys think about this week. I'd like to bring you back. We're going to ask about those 3 issues because I think those are important on both sides. And finishing up, any last comments? Go around. Any last thoughts? 1 minute. Roxanne will go reverse. Roxanne, what do you think? Last thoughts.
Well, if the grandma's for Hillary, shoot, my grandma would have said, well, you should have divorced him when he was that other woman.
How many women? He's got 7 or 8 that I know of.
Well, okay, yeah, the one you found out about, grandma would have said, well, hey, cut that thing off.
Heather, one last thought this week.
I think it's been a great week for Trump. I think it's a great lot of movement. I feel sorry for Ted Cruz. And they killed Robert in the background.
Get that cannon going.
Ted Cruz is taking a plummet, even though he's got some major endorsements. I mean, he's got some serious major Republican endorsements, and the guy is like going through the Titanic. And I find it really interesting. And I think it's because it's a different kind of political cycle we're in today in 2016. So I'm definitely for Trump, and I'm interested how it's going to go in the next week. Indiana, I believe my vote on Indiana, I think it's going to be a narrow margin, but I think it's going to be Trump.
And Bob, your thoughts?
Margin.
All she needs to win Indiana by is 1 vote. 1 vote. It's winner take all. So just win by 1. That's all that matters. I think Indiana is going to be the decider. I think Trump's going to start turning more to general election issues. And one thing we didn't mention about Hillary is the Clinton Foundation and the corruption with the Panama Papers and the fact she's been bought and paid for.
That's 4. You got 4
I
now.
don't care, Bill. The Arab nations on that.
That's a good point. Panama Papers and the Clinton Foundation,
Yeah,
huge
that's
scandal.
That's 4. We got to tone those down to 3. Hey, we're going to pause. Thanks, everybody. Stay on. The team will talk for a few minutes. Wave, everyone, wave. Say goodbye.
Bye.
We're recording. Bye.
Hashtag cool Bill.
Bye. Roxanne, next week. Bye. I'm going to let you go. Bye. Rave.
Bye.
Smile. Bye. Bob, you're going next.
I've been gone,
I
baby.
meant to mention this, that you be careful because, from Texas, they could put a missile with a little GPS on there right into your living room.
Come and get me, Bill. Listen, we're still armed in California while we can be, so it's okay.
Just be careful coming over Highway 80, right?
Come on down, baby. It's all good.
Okay, Bob. Bye. And thanks everybody for tuning in for Timelines of Success. Timelines of Success. Meet the Voter, meetthevoter.com. Meetthevoter.com. We'll be up next week at 9:00. And make sure you go and listen to the podcast.